Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about transformers. You might call them AC adapters or DC transformer, power supply, whatever. But anyway, so here's one. Now this little thing looks quite good. It looks like it's really good quality, and believe it or not, it cost me less than £1. I'll show you the eBay listing soon. It cost me, I think it was 93p, and that was with free postage. Now, as I always say, that's ridiculous. To send that from China to the UK for 93p and make anything on it, make some profit, well, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, so here it is. So let's have a quick look at what it says to start with. It says power supply, model S25-24, AC input 110, 220 plus 15%. Output 24 volts 1 amp. Okay, so it doesn't allow a great amount of current to flow through it, but whatever. So, right, AC input 110 volts or 220 volts. Now, that's interesting because in the UK we run off 240 volts or 220, whatever, however you want to say it. It varies actually, but it's around 220 volts. Apparently in the United States they use 110 volts, and yeah, so this is like a dual input thing, which is very interesting. So I believe this is a switch mode power supply, which means that it's transformed and switched instead of transformed. So what exactly is going on here then? Let's have a look. Okay, so what happens is that when you get the mains power in through the grid, you receive it like this. And of course this is called AC, as opposed to DC. So the AC voltage comes in, and in Britain we get 220 volts, or sometimes 240, some appliances 220, 230, 240, some say 250, so it's somewhere near there. So that's UK and some other countries. But the actual peak of that voltage, the actual peak, which is up here, is actually somewhere around 400 volts. And the trough of the wave is minus 400 volts, or thereabouts. So the first thing is, well, why are we saying 220, 230 or 240 volts, or in the case of USA, 110 volts, when it clearly isn't? Well, that's because we root, mean and square it, and yeah, that's called RMS. So your RMS voltage is 220. Okay, so RMS works out around there somewhere. So they root, mean and square it. Anyway, so coming to this adapter now, well, what exactly does it do? So this is what it does. We get the mains voltage, and lots of appliances don't run off AC power, they run off DC. And this particular one runs off 24 volts DC, and it draws up to 1 amp of current. So we need DC. So what happens here is that we get the AC voltage, and this thing scales it right down to 24, which is around about, well, we'll say here. But it's not AC anymore, it's DC, so it's about there. So if there's 0 volts, that's 24 volts, and DC, direct current, there is no wave, it's just a flat line. Okay, so that's what the adapter does, or the power supply, whatever you want to call it. But I think I'm going to open this up and try and find out a bit more about it, and let's have a quick look at it. Okay, so here it is, and the first thing I see here is that there are several terminals. So we've got AC in live, AC in neutral, earth, voltage minus, voltage plus, and VOADJ. And those are common sense, earth's common sense. Voltage out is the minus of DC, and voltage plus is the plus of DC. And then VOADJ, that is voltage out adjustment. So, okay, so what that will do is that will most likely adjust the output. So if it's 25 volts, for example, and it should be 24, you'll be able to adjust that. So now I'm going to open this thing up and let's have a look inside. This almost certainly voids the warranty because you've got stickers over the screws, but I don't care. I'm for 93p. I can't see me sending this back in the event of a failure. So let's open it up and find out what's in this. It actually looks really well built, especially for 90 odd p. I can't really believe that, 90p. So I'm just going to take a screw out of here. I think this is some sort of, in fact that screw might not need to come out, I'll leave that. Let's go for the next one. This one. Yeah, I think this unit looks really well built actually. I've seen them go on eBay before and they usually go for quite a lot, well, a considerable amount of money, so how I got this for 93p I'm not exactly sure. I think maybe it was just maybe I just got lucky, I think. Right, so there we go. So then we've got that cap thing off, whatever it is. What does it say here? Caution, high voltage inside, do not remove this cover, qualified service personnel only. Now, I've never used this, so I could think, oh, it's safe, but I don't know if they've tested it, I don't know what voltage the capacitors are, and they're most likely high voltage. So I'm actually not going to touch this, I'm just going to have a look at it and that's it. Right, so to start with, the screw that I was undoing just before, over here, that appears to be holding these MOSFETs. These will be the switching MOSFETs. I can't quite see what they are because that thing's in the way, but they'll be the switching MOSFETs. And I think it would be a good idea if I screw that back down just to keep them tight towards the case. See, this case here is aluminium, and this will be the heatsink. So this bar here will press them against the heatsink so as to keep them cool. So I'm going to put that back the way it was, and I wrongfully thought that it was to do with opening the case, if you know what I mean, which it's apparent now that it wasn't. It's nothing to do with the case. So just tighten that back up. I think I'll have to tighten it a bit higher than that, tighter than that, sorry. Okay. Hello. Hiya. Okay. So I'm not going to explain how this works because quite frankly I don't know how it works. But I will have a look at it and I'll see if I can point anything out before we test it. So there's the live terminal, and it seems to go through a capacitor, so that'll be a filtering capacitor probably. Then it goes through a small transformer, it looks like a small transformer there, and then it seems to go through, well, without looking at the bottom of the board I can't really tell, but it seems to go through 4 diodes, and 4 diodes in a power supply is pretty obvious to me, and I'd say that's a bridge rectifier. So the bridge rectifier, I may have a video on bridge rectifiers actually, I can't remember, but a bridge rectifier basically changes from the AC wave, if you like, to DC. So that would make the AC into DC. Right. So then it would go through this capacitor here, which looks like another filtering capacitor. And if I just look at this one, this will be a high voltage one, and this is why I'm a little bit concerned about touching this thing. I don't know if I can actually show you on the camera. No, I can barely see it myself, but just there, in fact you can see the reflection on in the aluminium. It actually says 400 volts, so I'm not going to be touching that. But that's a 400 volt thing, so that'll be 400 volt DC. And then it seems to go through whatever they are. So there's a couple more diodes, but they look like Zener diodes. I'm not exactly sure what that does. There's a few more resistors there, and then there seems to be another transformer here, which I would imagine that's the primary switching transformer.